Welcome to Arkane Studios, best place to join friends and get your gaming goodness each and every Monday. My name's John Blight. Joining me on the couch this week, Ashley Hobley.
Hey, Dylan, excited to be here. Are we going to fight each other? Is that a thing?
Yeah, creators clash now.
Triple threat.
Punch out. I'm gonna punch you in the face. I'm gonna punch you right in your fucking nose, Ash. I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna break your fucking glasses. Also here, Kieran Marchant.
You know, for somebody who watches wrestling, your promo scores are fucking terrible.
I'm gonna, you fucking nerd.
Oh my god! It's just
Take that.
doubling.
Take that.
Oh,
You,
no.
do
Oh god!
you like comic books, you big baby?
And welcome to Friday Night SmackDown. You heard from Dylan Blight at the top of the show.
I'll hit you so hard you'll become a centrist.
Oh god! Suffering succotash.
Fucking hell. This week on the show, there's not much to talk about. We're talking about game getting delayed, a cool Australian video game that's coming out, and the main discussion, I'm sure, will be around Ash trying to justify Redfall and me and Kieran being on yelling at him. But look forward to that later. Firstly, let's talk a little bit about Minecraft Legends. Me and Ash have played some. I'm not sure how much he's played. I know he's played it. I've played a couple hours. Let me get this question straight away first. Have you played Versus Mode?
No, I haven't.
No,
I've
never
just been
have
doing
I.
the campaign.
Same. So, and I feel like, and here's the reason why. So here's my thoughts on this game. The campaign is a very basic ass story, which is fine, but it does seem like the campaign's this sort of thing where it's set up as, hey, the campaign serves to teach you the mechanics to get into the real game, and the real game is Versus Mode. Would you say do you reckon that's how it sort of?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, the campaign is quite, I mean, it's weirdly got this like live like map, you know, which seems weird for like a Minecraft game, where, you know, you're playing as a hero who's fighting against these piglin creatures that are coming from another dimension, which is the premise of the game. And you're trying to fight them off with the help of golems, and then the other creatures in the Minecraft universe coming together to fight off creepers, zombies, skeletons.
Yeah.
But the piglins will, you know, when night falls, they'll hit a different village or base. So you've got to kind of be fighting them off all the time and then protecting all the different villages around the world map and that kind of stuff. So I don't think the campaign is not an afterthought by any means.
I don't know if I think it's an afterthought, but definitely does feel like the versus mode's the heart of the game.
I mean, I suspect that's where they suspect people will be spending most of their time once they're finished with the campaign.
Yeah.
Or if they've got friends.
So how are you liking it?
It's taken a bit of getting used to. I feel like people who play Minecraft regularly will be like, just the control schemes will be like, you know, dropping and building and getting items and that kind of stuff. Is you know, it's a lot there. So people who are like they're building in the Minecraft and the building mode in Fortnite, I feel like we'll get a kick out of all the mechanics in this. But it's got a weird RTS element to it.
I was about to say the RTS stuff's probably the part I thought you'd like, but I'm
enjoying it. You know, I was taking and fighting up against this piglin base. I was just taking out wave after wave of these golems, and, you know, trying to slowly whittle down this base and that kind of stuff. So I'm enjoying it. But I feel like it'll be more enjoyable with friends and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm not loving it, but I'm enjoying it. I'm keen to play a bit more and dive into the versus mode, but I just didn't want to dive straight into that and just be given all the mechanics and get and just be like, I don't even know what I'm doing, because at least playing the campaign, they slowly introduce the different stuff, materials and stuff, and the way you can different troops you can summon and whatever else. But yeah, the real time strategy element of it I find interesting, because it's not like these sorts of strategy games where you're playing a person on the field in real time, and it's like sort of an action game hybrid thing. It's not like it's new, but they always seem to like very hit and miss. And unlike something like, say, Brutal Legend, where you would do a lot of you were passively engaging in a fight, like by buffing and debuffing for the most part. This is like you're just as much a part of the fight, I guess, as the troops you're bringing in. So, you know,
I mean, you can be. Obviously, you play as a character who hits stuff. So,
yeah, but it does feel like the game wants you to still be part of the fight. And like, sure, you can try and play it by like just ordering your troops from afar, but I don't feel like that's the way the game's designed to be played. Where you know, like, so if I gather up you can set up these little troop spawning areas just outside of where the battle's taking place. So if I run back to one of those, I'm trying to take down a piglin base. I spawn a bunch of golems that are really good at taking down towers because the different types of golems do different things. I grab a bunch of those, I run in, and I tell them, I press a button that enables you to like
select all,
select and then like target and be like, go attack this thing, instead of just like them following you and attacking what attacks you sort of scenario.
I feel like that was a little bit finicky. Because I do that occasionally, and it would be like one troop would go, or then some troops would go, and then some would go get distracted by something else and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think it might just be trial and error to see exactly how it all works. Like, is it just the people you selected that you're ordering?
Yeah, so
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, or you can set one. There's a button when you're in the like auto mode. You can hold down B or whatever and make them all attack a tower or an enemy or whatever. But if you just press one, like tap B or Y or whatever it is, it just does one of the troops. But you can't select which troop it is. Like, I don't know if it's different.
No, it was specifically the battle where all the like creatures are like, you know, gathered around the base as well, and you can go recruit them. Kind of. It's like, oh, recruit a batch and then drop them off, and then I want all the ones in the base to be fighting the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
But you can't do that.
Because I'd find sometimes I would, if I like say the towers that shoot like arrows at your troops, I find them really annoying. I'm like, fuck, I just want to get these out straight away. So like run in and tell everyone to take those down. And then I sort of just go corner cuck wherever the troops are coming from, like the piglets are coming around the corner, and I just got corner cuck the fuck out of them, and I just like slam my sword down, so I'm blocking them from getting to my troops while my troops are taking down the tower. Like, I feel like I've got some tactics, but like it's not like, I wouldn't call this a super deep RTS. It is like I think the part I'm looking forward to in the versus mode, and the reason I got excited for the game in the first place, was that whole element of it's 4v4. You do have like that stage one, like gather materials, build up your base, build walls, you know, like gather your troops, go into
fight.
Have
you tried to build stuff like walls and stuff?
Yeah, I've built walls and stuff in towns.
It's not great. At least not with the controller. Yeah,
it's very simplistic, but it takes us, I feel like once you get the hang of it, like you can quickly be like, I just want wall and a tower here and whatever else. Like, I don't know if it would play better with full like mouse and keyboard controls. Some of these things, I'm not sure, but yeah, on Xbox, I think it's fine. It's fine. Like, it works. Yeah, so at least with a controller. So,
other thing that stood out to me, I don't know if this is, did zombies always have giant noses?
I have no idea. I don't really play normal.
It depends on the zombie. If it's a village zombie, yes.
So villages have always had like really big noses.
Yes, villages always had massive, and especially because it goes with their classic. It goes with their classic. That's the villager noise from Minecraft.
There you go.
What was it again?
Thank you, villager. Thank you so much. Also, there was like it's funny the world and the universe of this Minecraft thing, where there was clearly a stage where it's like zipping through all these different universes and worlds, and it's good. Got the multiverse of Minecraft worlds, and there's clearly a shot there of Minecraft Steve at some stage. I'm like, is this like from his back, like overlooking something? And I was like, is this like, they're like now saying there's like Minecraft Earth 1, and then there's like, you know, like this is a different world, and which is fine because that makes sense.
I mean, Minecraft has always technically been a multiverse.
Yeah, so. I know. It's funny that they're like got these little Easter eggs and stuff like that. All right,
I do enjoy the Piglin cutscenes.
They're funny.
The Piglin designs are very good. Yeah,
very simple story, but it's got some funny like Lego-ish humor, I guess. That sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's probably the most accurate. Very, very Lego video game humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other thing that went up review was this. Or no, this hasn't gone up yet. We're still playing it. But the only review that went up this week was Octopath Traveler 2 review. And by up this week, I mean I was editing it before we started recording, so it'll be up by the time it's up. But Will wrote a review, gave it a 9 out of 10. It took him 80 hours to beat the game, he says in his review. So yeah, it's one of those long ones. But he said everything in Octopath Traveler 2 coalesces in a way that makes an enjoyable classical style RPG. The lack of interaction between the 8 characters hardly pulls down the low stakes of the rest of the characters. Pleasing from an audio and visual department, the combat stays challenging yet inviting. A modern take on the classical RPG style that should not be missed. So yeah, he very, very much enjoyed all the different character stories, the different types of characters, and the way they all sort of come together. So and the I guess the pacing as well is something else. He talks about how like the levels or chapters or whatever you want to call them are short, but it like helps keep you rotating for the characters and always keeps the story engaging and stuff. So check out Will's full 9 out of 10 review for Octopath Traveler 2 on explosionnetwork.com. Let's get into a couple of news stories for this week. Let's start with this one. It's not really a news story. It's just more of a lol. Suicide Squad Kill Justice League has been delayed. So on their official Twitter, they wrote Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League will now launch on the 2nd of 2nd, 2024. We have made the tough but necessary decision to take the time needed to work on getting the game to be the best quality experience for players. Thank you to our amazing community for the continued support, patience, and understanding. There's much more to share in the months ahead, and we look forward to seeing you in Metropolis next year. What do you reckon happened, Kieran?
This just the whole fan reaction to the game when the game's wider details were released. I guess everybody didn't love the fact that it sounded like it
Destiny,
sounds
but...
like it was not even Destiny. No, it looked like Avengers. Like it looked like the Avengers game. In terms of
what's wrong with that game's still kicking around, being popular, right? Like, what's the right?
Dylan? I don't know. You probably missed it. It was a very small news story. It closed its service, mate. Or it's closing its service.
Lots of things close their servers. That doesn't mean they're not successful or were successful. You know?
You have such a magical way of swinging.
Club Penguin was a huge thing, not around anymore.
Fucking hell.
Battleborn, huge deal, not around anymore.
Overwatch 1, huge deal.
Yeah, huge deal, not around anymore.
Not around anymore.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sometimes video games aren't here forever.
Continue, Karen.
I just feel like this is, and I don't think this delay is enough for them to fix the problem. Like, the problem is hard baked into the entire preface that they've gone and the system that they've selected. So just extending this out till the start of 2024 isn't going to fix the issue at hand. I don't see them over resolving. I think maybe this is a strategy to remove the game away from the negativity and give it some fresh air once it does release. But I don't see them being able to put enough polish or enough time into changing the game system in that very small period of time, really, to change it fundamentally and make it into a completely different game.
What do you think, Ash?
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like, obviously, as much as they'll say it's not, the negative reaction to the PlayStation State of Play would have affected them, I would imagine. But other than like completely revamping it and making it removing like all the elements that people think they don't want, I don't know exactly what they're planning on doing, you know, other than polishing it. There are some rumors that they were always planning to delay it so they could polish it some more. But, 9 months? That's a pretty...
That's a long time.
Long time. Yeah, I mean, it's it'll be interesting to see what they actually come up with. Have some faith in Rocksteady. This gives them the chance to like maybe potentially have more content ready as soon as the game launches. Because I feel like that's probably more what killed Avengers than anything else. It's like, here's all the game, and then they went dead silent for like 6 months, and then they dropped like little things. So, if you can plan out like a steady timeline or, few months at least at launch to get people sticking around that long, get your hooks into them properly, then you've got a fair chance of keeping them around. But yeah, I don't know what exactly they're going to be doing for the next 10 months. It's not like they're going to completely change the game.
No. Well, no. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's absolutely ridiculous and sort of funny, but that we've been waiting what feels like 10 years for Rocksteady's follow-up game. And then when they finally announce it, after everyone wanting it, everyone's like, yeah, let's go Rocksteady. Trailer plays. Oh, not that. And then like...
Now put it as effective. Arkham Knight came out June 2015.
Yeah, cool. So next year's 2024.
Almost 9 years to the next title. Well, full title.
Which is crazy. That's ridiculous. That's a very long time between games.
I mean, I guess they're lucky they're owned by Warner Brothers, I guess, who, are willing to...
Warner Brothers doesn't even want them around anymore.
That's true.
It's not even Warner Brothers is like, this fucking games department. It's like,
maybe they're just desperate to get sold off. So, let's just drag this out as long as possible.
Trying just harder to get it sold off. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But, yeah.
Do you reckon at this
craziest thing is this is the first, as far as I can tell, the first dated game for 2024.
There you go.
Get excited.
What was you going to say, Ken?
I just think, what? Part of me even just thinks that they'd be better off just saying fuck it and just continue and just maintain the course. Unless the game is a buggy mess and there is a lot of technical work that's needed to go into the game to polish it to make it playable in full release, I think they're better off just of sticking the course and releasing it this year and just getting it done with, because this just drags it out, really. Like, it just drags everything out. If you think at the end of the day, if they're not going to, unless they believe they can change the problems that people had with the game, then I don't. Yeah, I
just follow in the footsteps of Warner
Isn't
Brothers
the game running perfectly something that would like appeal to people?
No, because I still think no matter how well the game runs, it won't change the apprehension that people were having around what they saw in that gameplay trailer and showcase.
Plenty of games that run well, but boring as fuck.
Like Avengers ran well. Avengers played well, but people didn't like that game. Like, they didn't like what that game gave, and the games for service style gameplay that it was involved. They did not enjoy that at all.
I know. I think it'll be very interesting when it actually comes out. Like, how much of people's opinions of what the game is meant to be going to affect their... Like, I feel like with this game, like, potentially reviews can be very important. Like, they're like, oh, this is actually a lot of fun, because I feel like a lot of people are going to be waiting on, the Metacritic or Open Critic scores. Yeah.
It's a pick it up day one or pick it up on sale later scenario.
Find it. You know what? I'd say wait it like a couple months and you'll find it like a $30 bin in EB Games or something.
How much is Gotham City Knights, right?
Exactly.
I've seen it on sale a lot. So
I saw it on sale like a week or two after it was released. Like, it was. I think
I never went back and finished that either. By the way,
no,
I played a little bit with you for co-op and everything. I never.
Yeah, no, I haven't touched it again.
It's probably great.
I reviewed it. It doesn't. I feel like these games, even the ones that are like after its initial shitty release, is doing well. Is it doing well enough? Like No Man's Sky, that game is, people love the shit out of that game now, but Is it
No
as
Man's
big
Sky
as
is
it was?
not the norm. It's a exception.
It's not the
It's
norm,
an anomaly.
exactly. It's the minority in the situation where a dev team actually turned that ship around and didn't fly it into the sun, flew it into the actual Grady universe.
Well, they flew it into the sun first, and then they somehow managed to turn it around.
They slingshotted it. They used the sun to slingshot it, and came out the other side much faster. Yeah.
Well, luckily these live service games have a chance to like turn around, more than any other genre of game.
They have a very small window to turn around.
I feel like
especially when you're owned by a big corporation, they want money straight away.
And I think if you don't make it out of the gates, I think you just fucked. You just screwed. You done goofed.
Bloody cooked up, bro.
All
right, let's actually talk about something that looks cool. So, Summerfall Studios, Melbourne-based Australian studio, has a game coming out. It was announced what feels like 10 years ago. Stray Gods. It was originally announced. Stray Gods role-playing musical.
I think it was announced at a PAX.
It was announced at PAX. It's like 4 or 5 years ago.
Before the pandemic.
Yeah. So whatever that was.
So it was like 2019 years
or
ago,
something.
like you said.
Very, very long time. It was at the time when David Gaida, BioWare veteran sort of lead writer dude, he was there as the storytime speaker. It was announced that PAX that year. It was announced it's a game. He's setting up Australian Studios, going to be working on this narrative musical game, announced some devs and stuff like that. And as the story's gone and the years have passed, it's been very exciting, like sort of prospect on the future, like always on the upcoming games sort of list. And now that a trailer is released and everything, it is looking very, very unique and very cool. IMO. Anyway. So the game is, they did a whole event to show off the first trailer and everything. It's coming out August 3rd, 2023. Follows the story of a character called Grace, who's voiced by Laura Bailey. She somehow is granted like god powers of muse, finding death of a friend, and she ends up like wound up with all these Greek gods. The Greek gods are all like voiced by basically everyone in Critical Role.
The voice cast for this game is fucking insane. It is
like Laura Bailey, Troy Baker, and friends.
Yeah, it's all Troy Baker and all friends, and then Felicia Day.
So I believe Troy Baker's voice directing.
Is he? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
There's a bunch of Australian people in this too. I know, like so.
Oh, that's good because that was going to be my main complaint. It's like this is an Australian game, and there's all these Americans.
There's Australian people working on, but none of like the main, the head sort of people or whatever. So.
So we're doing the grunt.
What did you think of this trailer and the way the game looks, Ash?
Let me just get it out of the gate. It was hilarious. The first line is Calliope. It's said completely different to the way you expect Calliope to be said in a video game.
What?
Calliope. It was a God of War joke, I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it looks interesting. Like, I don't think the mixing of the music in between, like, I don't think it's a well put together trailer. But
to do a trailer for a musical.
I mean, get like a proper mix,
Damn, just get a proper mix, bro.
No, yeah, that's a bad just generalization. Yeah, I just don't think it flowed very well between the different songs. Like, I'm sure they could have found like a better way to do that, but I think it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting what the actual gaming mechanics are. It seems like it's a visual novel-esque thing where you make choices and that'll affect the songs that they sing, and like the story that's told is your unique version. The musical that's performed for you, it'll be your own unique version because of the choices that you make. It's got a very cool art style and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I want to see some actual gameplay. I guess that would be.
I mean, you did
my next requirement.
Technically,
no, it's a little bit. It's like here's
game,
3 choices.
Yeah, it's a Telltale game.
Is that it? Yeah,
the musical. Karen, this has. I feel like it ticks many a boxes for you. What do you think of this?
I love the shit out of it. I think this covers, as you said, like so many things, and I think it is an interesting concept. It is not something that is in many ways very generic. Like I love the idea of it being this musical. I think the basis for the story is interesting. I love the concept of Greek gods in a modern world and gods in general in a modern world. And I think this will be, and I think the moment you go, even just opening with just Laura Bailey being the lead voice actor, and I think that is pretty big. And I know for Ashley, you had the criticism of where's the Australian voice actors and stuff, but I think it's a feather in the cap of this. This is Australian made, but so many American and large voice actors are on board to be a part of this. I think for most of these are fucking theater nerds. And so you turn around and say to them, this is a role-playing musical, and they're fucking in straight away. I think this has just got such a range of personalities and voice types in this that I'm so excited to meet all of their characters and to see how they all perform in this setting. I think we've seen so many of them, and over the years we've started to see so many of them doing more vocal work, doing more singing throughout their work in the industry. That to see this as a whole project, and that this can come out and be embraced and be excited by the community, I think's awesome. I think's really fucking good. I couldn't imagine a game like this coming out 10, 15 years ago. The premise of it.
Tripod and Montaigne are two people doing songs and lyrics for the game alongside Austin Wintory. So 2 out of the 3 people doing the songs and lyrics are Australian people.
Yeah.
The Australian comedy group and a sounds mean to say real, but you've got a real Australian comedy musical group and a non-comedy singer.
And on top of that, Austin Wintory is a great musical director and songwriter. And then, you would just think that I would expect Alana Pierce to get a voice role of some kind in this, and then also just need to get Mike Bithell, and there is all the members of their podcast on this along with Troy and Austin. So, We've got the trifle.
What I'm really saying is, why aren't we beating it up?
The sound of music.
No, we'll do talking parts, but
okay, fair
enough. No, they'll just get the Unidonna guys. It's fine. That's what will happen.
I also think it's we're getting to the point now where it's nice to see Australian games that aren't so focused on a particular gimmick
packing.
Or yeah
peace cults
that the
we've done it too many times, guys. We're running these ideas into the ground. We're very redundant here.
It's
Knights golf.
We fucking done.
It's nice to see something with a bit more narrative depth and writing from the Australian scene come forward, because I think we've been building. What? Sorry.
Dropping a bomb on all the games we mentioned.
No,
none of them have good narratives.
Unpacking, one of the best narratives in the last 10 years, but that's fine.
Is it though?
Yes.
I don't know. I just felt like it's not. Maybe it's not necessarily that. It's just the fact that this is an evolution of Australian games that are being made by Australian studios. And yes, we've had Australian games that are being been brought out, and especially with places like 2K doing it on a much larger scale. But I think to see the scene expand, it's kind of a nice prideful thing in the as a Victorian, to see the Victorian government logo and the Vic Screen logo on the end of the trailer, to show that support that's going into the industry here. I just think it's a positive overall for Australian games making in general, and the support it's receiving and the recognition it's receiving, not just in Australia, but across the world now.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. Obviously, this week on top of the trailer release, they had a one-night performance.
Songs and stuff
beforehand and that kind of stuff, so it's a big deal. I feel like this might be one of the first video games that's kind of being sold on the cast of the game.
Death Stranding?
No.
Avengers. I guess Death Stranding.
Avengers was Marvel, but their big point in their first showcase was, here's the fucking voice actors we've got for it.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody you love.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah.
That was such a huge success that, replicated it.
Did you say Dark
Arc
2?
2? No, Arc 2.
Arc 2.
Oh. Yeah, they're selling it on Vin Diesel.
I think they were. It's just a rant.
Boy.
But I mean, the only one that springs to mind is 12 minutes, but, again, not a great success.
But once again, I guess this is a cast that is definitely more focused on video game voice actors, and it's not celebrity actors. And we're now at the point where video game...
Forgot about Rock City as well. Also a huge success.
I read a review for that the other day, by the way. That game came out last week for people, or a couple weeks ago now.
Probably majority of people didn't realize.
Yeah, Chuck Norris and everything like that in it. I read a review, can't remember what site it was, Eurogame or something like that, and their review ended with a line of, this game was a really great reminder of me as to why I'm really looking forward to playing Payday 3 hopefully later this year. I was like, that's such a good way. Yep, cool. Lovely. All right, one more news story for this week. So the internet has erupted because of this one, so Press Start writes, Arkane has announced overnight that Redfall, its upcoming multiplayer open world shooter set in vampire-infested Massachusetts, won't ship with a 60 FPS mode on either the Xbox Series X or Xbox Series S at launch. Revealed via the game's social media, it's been clarified that the game will run in 4K resolution at 30 frames per second on the Xbox Series X and 1440p 30 frames per second on the smaller Xbox Series S. A performance-style vision mode running in a much more preferable 60 frames per second will be arriving at a later date via an update. The news has caused some disarray among eager fans that are expecting an option to be available at launch, especially given that much of the game's marketing, though not necessarily shown running on console, has been displayed at a high frame rate. Being a fast-paced first-person shooter with up to 4 players in co-op, it also lends itself to more fluid performance. Recently, Redfall's director Harvey Smith addressed the game's always online requirement, saying the studio is looking at how it can change it after launch. Blah, 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 blah. People have gone hands-on, including Press Start, and their preview was positive about the game, but I believe everyone's previews were probably played on PC. Crazy.
Everybody that I've seen has said that they played the game in 60 FPS.
Yeah, so PC.
Yeah, I think everybody
what do you think
was
of this news?
Yikes. I think it's I don't know. It's is this a positive for a Bethesda studio to know that there is problems with something in their game and they are getting out ahead of it to be like, hey, this isn't quite ready yet. Everything else is ready. We'll just put the game out. We're not going to delay it just so you can get 60 frames on a console, and we'll just put that out later. Because I think there's a large portion of there is a large portion of the gaming community doesn't give a fuck about frames. They don't go into that setting to play around with the performance, getting into people's hands. There's people like Ashley Hobley who play on a fucking CRT. That shit ain't pulling 60 frames properly. That's barely doing 15. But I guess for me personally, it doesn't matter because it's a first-person shooter. It's got cross-play, I believe, so it's an easy choice for PC. It just sucks when they've done so much of their marketing on the PC version of this, obviously, to see that. And you know what? That also makes me worry if this comes. It'll be interesting, right? If this game comes out and the PC version is awesome and great and runs really well, then it speaks to the limitations of the Xbox and the current console platform. Or if it runs like hot garbage on PC, it just means that the game has not been optimized very well, and there is classic Bethesda problems, which we will be bemoaning and people will hate. But sadly, it's kind of another chapter in Bethesda's ongoing run of just not polished games being released.
All right, Ash.
There's not much else to say. I think Kieran covered it at most of it, I will say that it's a bit rich for like all these people complaining and being like, oh, this is bullshit. This is another alpha Xbox. This game is going to be shit because it's not running at 60 frames per second, I think is a bit of a terrible stretch, especially when all these people who apparently were going to play the game weren't going to be paying for it anyway because they've got Game Pass that were just going to be, giving it a go. for their $2 or whatever it is now. Oh no, I have to play it for 30 frames per second when the frame rate that most video games have been made in the history of video games. Oh, what a travesty. On the other hand, like Kieran said, it just kind of shows the limitations of Xbox when, their last game, Deathloop, could run 60 frames per second perfectly fine on PS5. So let's throw that out there as well.
Oh, let's not. Let's not. It's a different studio, isn't it? It's not.
Is that facts? Nope, it's Arkane.
It's a different Arkane studio, right? It's exactly the same. Ooh, okay. I thought it was a different location for Arkane. It wasn't the same. Ooh, that's
so. I
think this game's more ambitious.
And it's a massive L for Xbox.
You weren't going to buy this game anyway. You're just going to use Game Pass.
I do actually think this is. So it's not it. So if this game came out, if they announced from the outset that this game, they weren't planning or it wasn't in their development pipeline to have a 60 FPS mode ready for launch, that would be one thing, and I'd still call that bullshit. But the part of history for this that I do think is sort of dodgy is that at the end of the day, everyone, as much as Kieran's like, I'm going to play this on PC or whatever else, this has been shown at mostly Xbox press conferences and events and stuff. Yeah. And Xbox is in the video game console, not Xbox as in you can play this on Xbox PC Game Pass. It's a console platform first, as much as people want to think it. And they've been showing all this gameplay running at 60 frames per second. And it doesn't matter. I don't care if you play it. I don't care if you show the game on PC, as long as it's the PC equivalent is going to look the same as the Xbox One. Like then it's, they've let themselves down into a weird, like almost false advertising hole with this one.
Do you think though that
it's going to look the same?
No,
it's going to run.
No, it won't look the same.
Less half the amount of frames.
It'll look worse.
It'll look just over a little worse. Sadly,
the actual models will look the exact same
when you're standing still,
except for the tearing that's going on as you're turning and stuff. No, I think.
No, but
you know what? I think it just depends. How long have they known about this issue? And is this an issue that they realistically were like, we're going to be able to fix this prior to launch? And then it's got closer to launch and they've said, we can't fix this. Like, is this...
They've been showing it on PC on purpose. So you tell me, how long have they known about this?
But this is the thing, right? Have they been showing on with the PC with the intention of, we are releasing this with a 60 frames per second mode. We intend
We're going to figure this out.
We're going to figure this out. And they've delayed the game. They've delayed the game a couple times, and now they've gone, all right, we might need to just say, hey, 60 frames isn't going to happen before launch. We need to get this to launch, though. Like, at the end of the day, once again, this is the pressure of Xbox's position. Yes, it really fucking sucks that another game is being released on Xbox Game Pass and Xbox in general as a first-party game that's having a sticker put onto it saying it's slightly defective. Like it's that shouldn't be the case, and we've come to understand and live up to the standards of PlayStation and how well they do their first party games and the standard of polish that we expect with their games. Xbox isn't quite up to that, and this isn't giving them a pass. This isn't kind of relieving them from admonishment for that. I would just say, isn't it better off that? Dylan, would you have preferred them? And is it a good look for both Bethesda and Microsoft if this game gets delayed again?
I would have just delayed it again.
But they've been lying. They said all those games were coming out in 12 months.
Yeah. I would have just come out and said, look.
I don't think that matters. But shouldn't
Xbox is liars.
From a business perspective for Xbox, though, don't they just eventually have to start putting games out? One of our big admonishments with Xbox is that they are very lacking in their first-party studios and that they're very slow on releases. And they had this plan for releases. They had this plan for Starfall. They had this plan for Redfall. And eventually, they just have to fucking release the games. Otherwise, if it got delayed, we would have been just as annoyed with them for delaying the game again. And eventually, you've just got to say, fuck it. Just release the game and we'll get to it.
I'll put an asterisk on this one as a test subject, because in a world where Xbox Game Pass wasn't a thing, I think releasing this without the 60 frames per mode would be nail in the coffin for this game without Game Pass.
Yes, 100%. I agree with you 100% there.
Yeah, with Game Pass, it's going to be interesting, and we can look at this later down the line to see how it worked out. But the game's going to come out. It's going to review poorly on Xbox if people do reviews of both. I think that let's say the game is getting 8s and shit like that on PC.
Would you mark it down for it not running at 60 frames per second?
Mm-hmm.
I think no.
These days, 100%.
I think I'd mark it down.
Not having the option
was. No, I think if you sat there, right? So say if they never said this, right? Say if, and then again, I guess it goes back to the whole marketing of not.
Do you mark things down when they don't have ray tracing or
no?
No. If you go into this game and you play the 30 frames and you actually go, you know what, this actually runs pretty well at 30 frames, and I'm okay.
It won't though. It's a first-person shooter. It won't.
You can't, but you can't just say it won't though. What if it does? What if they are happy with the product that it puts out at 30 frames?
I'm telling you, it won't. It's a fast-paced first-person shooter, and people have become accustomed to the 60 frames per second over the last few years.
There's heaps of people that play for first-person shooters in the graphical mode. They'll love it.
No. People are playing games in 60 frames and not even realizing they're playing games in 60 frames, and then they're going to go play something like this, and they'll realize that it just runs like ass. People are used to 60 frames.
These 60 frames, it's just a giant mass delusion. You don't need them. Don't need those extra frames.
I agree with you on frames, but I don't know. This is again why. I know that this the you know what, right?
I think frames having the option is mandatory. I think it's become mandatory for most games in this generation. And going back to a game launching at just 30 frames per second is archaic at this stage to me.
I think you're being unnatural. I think you're being harsh on this. I don't think it's...
I think I'm the only real gamer here.
I don't think so. Oh my God.
You say wearing your Pokemon shirt. Are those in 60 frames per second?
They don't need to be. They're not fucking first-person Pikachu.
You're saying this to the person that brain implodes when my frames on a game dips below 200 FPS while I'm playing them. Like, it's at the end of the... most TVs, right? Most TVs people own don't even run 60 frames that well.
Most TVs do 60. No, all modern TVs will do 60 hertz standard. They won't do 100 standard. They won't do 120. They'll do 60. That's normal.
So what about this, right? What about this, right? So the default setting for majority of games the default setting nowadays for games when you have the two choices is always the beautiful one, like the pretty one that's in 4K that runs at 30 frames. I know it's good that they have the choice and it's expected to have the choice, but do you believe majority of gamers will go into that setting and change that setting? Or will they just play it at the default that has been put in by the developer?
I reckon the majority of people would have preferred to have this game launch in 1080p at 60 frames than 1440p at 30.
No shot. Yep. So many people care so much more about the game's resolution. Because resolution has been stuffed down their throats for such a long period of time.
I would prefer to play this in 1080p 60 frames per second than 1440p.
I know you would,
it's not even
but
4K.
I think you're in the.
It's only 3K.
I think you're in the minority. I think you and me are in the minority when it comes to frame rates, because I think most people are like, oh, well, I just want the pretty version, and they'll just leave it on the pretty setting.
Remember the last Bethesda game I played? I booted up Ghostwire Tokyo on PS5, right? I started the game with the visual mode on. I watched the cutscene. I took about 5 steps forward. I was like, this is very nice. And then I went to turn my character left.
But
and it went, and I went, and I changed it to 60 frames.
That's you though, Dylan, right? Because if majority of people are used to playing games at 30 frames a second on their consoles, they will not input that there is a problem with the turn rate. Their brain doesn't see it. As soon as, you will always see the moment you switch over. So every time you do a big jump in frame rate, so you go from 30 to 60, 60 to 120/140, 140 to 240, 240 to 360. Those jumps, and it gets smaller every fucking time. As soon as you're used to the next jump, the last jump is now unplayable. That's just the way it is. Is the last jump looks like hot garbage, and you will never be able to play games at that ever again, and you will struggle. I don't think many people will. I don't think majority of the general public of video game players jump from that 30 to 60 unless it's the natural default setting on a game.
Fucking Ash just put a poll up I see in the corner of my eye. On Twitter.
I'm not, and like this is the thing, right? I'm coming from my point of view, frames are important, and I frame rates are great, and I can live with this because it's not going to affect me because I just get it on my PC and it's not going to be capped frames. But I think, and this is the thing, even this poll that Ashley puts out, it's not going to capture because we're going to capture the minority of people who like frames. Because all of the bubbles we're in are the gaming media bubbles of people who are a bit more serious about their gaming, who are a bit more attached to gaming and in depth with gaming and know these settings.
Wrong. Ash sits here every week and he still plays in 24 frames per second.
He's the odd one fucking out in our, we yell at him and everybody in our audience yells at him to upgrade his TV, to invest in a better TV. We put up a fucking, we've donated money technically to him eventually getting a new TV.
It's gaining interest.
It's gaining fucking interest there. Like we have that money there.
Yeah.
But we are not the majority. We're just not. We are the vocal minority.
All these people bitching. Take people out of it. Take the public out of it. Do you believe? Don't bring in any outside opinions about what you think people want or care about. Do you personally believe it's okay to launch a game in 2023 with only 30 frames per second? That's a first-person shooter.
If it is me playing it and I'm only allowed to play it at 30 frames,
this is the question.
I couldn't play the game.
Yeah, I didn't say what you think of people.
I couldn't personally. I couldn't play the game, and I wouldn't. It wouldn't be good for me as a player. So no, I wouldn't be happy.
So this news story came out the other day. If this was only on Xbox, I would not play it anymore. Like straight up. This went from me wanting to play it on Xbox to I have to play this on PC now. Yuck. But I guess I have to.
But the thing is, thanks to the world of Game Pass, you don't have. Well, you kind of do have to because if you've got that's the only problem with it is you have to upgrade to the PC version of Game Pass. That is the
version, the world where you have Ultimate Game Pass.
In the world where you have Ultimate Game Pass,
that's it.
If you have Ultimate Game Pass, which you do, Dylan, it doesn't matter because you have both versions of the game, so you can play it on PC. And the moment the 60K patch update comes out, you can jump onto your fucking couch or your bed and play it on your Xbox, champ.
Dylan, just wait till that Digital Foundry video comes out, and you see no difference whatsoever.
Digital Foundry is going to rip this game an asshole on a new asshole.
But this is the thing: the people that, from Xbox's point of view. It's just getting this game out to people to play it and to...
Which is sad as fuck. I'm with you. Yes, Xbox needs to get games out. But the fact that they're like, holy fuck, we have no game... They're like, we have brought 26,000 studios, but the first game we can shovel out for 2023 is still coming out half-fucked.
Nope.
What else came out?
Well, it's Hi-Fi Rush has come out.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That came out of nowhere, yeah. Forgot about that. What else?
What else? Game Pass for a second.
Yeah, no, if you have to Google it, doesn't count.
Saying
no, I don't have to. I just want to open
the stretch, considering you haven't played it at all.
What?
I think judging a game before you actually play it.
I think that's the whole point of this podcast.
That's the good point.
What are you talking about? All we do is talk about things that we haven't played half the time.
Only when I'm right.
Wasn't Atomic Heart? Atomic Heart was the same?
That was...
everybody loves Atomic Heart.
That game is absolute arse, and it was on every platform. That's what I expect.
Oh, it was on every platform? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
All I can remember is the Xbox branding for that game. Probably a bad thing. Does Minecraft Legends have a 60 frame mode?
It runs in 60 frames.
I couldn't tell you.
No, you couldn't.
Does it natively? Does it?
Yes, it's natively 60 frames.
Okay.
Yes.
I think there are too many frames. If that would be my critique.
No, I think this is you know what? If they release this and the rest of the game runs well, I think that's honestly a fucking plus for Bethesda games. The shit show that Bethesda puts out normally, if this is the pinnacle of the problem, fuck yeah, you are making progress, Bethesda and Arkane. Awesome.
Do you know how good this new story filled me with so much hope for Starfield, whatever the game's called. Anyway, that game's gonna come out fucking terrible. I'm all bets now.
No.
That game's gonna come out like
believe it.
No,
well, when it doesn't,
no.
Eventually, they've got to start doing something right. You know. Eventually.
No, some people are just terrible.
All the money that they're using to like help build these studios, make sure everything's running correctly, hire enough people.
Yeah.
All going to this Activision.
As to Ash's theory of, we said we'd have all these games out by this date. Right. It doesn't matter because Hollow Knight Silksong's not coming out. So they're wrong anyway.
Yeah, I don't think
they're liars. Xbox is just liars.
I don't think that matters, but I just don't think this is in the grand scheme of gaming. I think they wanted to release it
in the first half of the year. They wanted something first half of the year.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of gaming, this isn't a problem.
No. Really, nobody's going to care. Do I think you can release a 30 frame per second first person shooter in 2023? Yes, you can. You have to just know that you're going to get this reaction.
You know what?
From the hardcore framists.
And at least they've announced it prior to its release. They haven't just they haven't just dropped it. They just dropped it and be like, oh, by the way, there's no 60 frames. Sorry, guys. Like,
what?
Yeah.
What? The option? No, we're going to patch that option in.
We're going to patch
the drop-down menu. Sorry, it's there.
They announced
They're not going to put it in the embargo and be like, hey, don't talk about this.
They announced it 3 weeks prior to release.
That's better than fucking... That's probably when they had to make the call. That's probably when they've had to realistically make the call and said, look, we're not going to get this in time. If, you know what, what would have been even better than what they've done is if they'd said, hey, 2 weeks after launch, we're going to have it. That also would have been fine.
I tell you what, if this patch comes a week later, I'm just going to be like, you dumb fucks, just delay it an extra week. Like, why would you?
The thing is, I feel like delaying a game is more expensive than you would think it is.
Depends.
I think delaying a game is actually a bigger deal than you believe it is to delay a game.
I don't think it is with Xbox Game Pass. I don't think it matters. Just delay it.
It was getting a physical release as well, so I believe.
What's that?
Like discs for people the crazy people who want to buy the actual physical game.
So you also have other third parties that are
people who like to have the disc on the wall.
Do I have to buy it in slow motion too?
They just have to turn very slowly when
just go to JB Hi-Fi and I'm like, sorry, I'm just purchasing this in 30 frames per second, like the game runs.
But that's the thing, right? I think there is a lot more that goes into a decision of delaying it than if just, rip it and ship it, delay it, boys. Let's put out a yellow fucking social media post and we'll be fucking golden.
I just want everyone to know that, I'm the true PC elitist on this podcast.
You're fucking not. You're just... The thing is, if you're a true PC elitist, you're like me and you go, well, I don't give a fuck about the console version being a problem because I'll be fine. You're being a fucking console Andy being like, yeah, but I wanted to play it on my console even though I've got the option of both. Where?
Is that... Who makes that sound?
You do. That's mostly what I've
heard. The villagers in Redfall.
The villagers of Redfall.
Fucking all right, well, on that note, let's know any comments, questions, concerns, your thoughts on Redfall not running like a real video game, either on our Discord or Twitter. ExplosionNetwork.com/Twitter, ExplosionNetwork.com/Discord. Go vote in the poll. Ash put it up for 4 days. You could do that. Currently, the 1080p 60 frames per second is winning with 7 votes, just so everyone knows where we're at the moment. If you like this episode and thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page, ExplosionNetwork.com/support, and buy us a coffee. Same time, same couch next week. We'll see you all there. Goodbye.
Would have run fine at 60 frames per second on PlayStation.